I think that in my case, like I said, because I'm happy and healthy and I'm younger, I was able to recover on my own. And I do think that a majority of folks in my age range, I'm 37, I think will experience that still is a very serious issue. This is a very new virus. Scientists are just beginning to understand it. We don't have a vaccine for it. We don't necessarily have any cure or treatment per se. And so those of our community members who are elderly and vulnerable to potentially getting more life-threatening symptoms, people who are immunocompromised, people who just got through surgery or chemotherapy because they have cancer, people that have underlying health problems like asthma, heart disease, etc. Those people are definitely more vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And so it's those folks that we really need to watch out for. And my main message is that if you have any of the symptoms that are associated with the coronavirus, please remove yourself from the community, practice social distancing, please stay home, break out the Netflix, order from Uber Eats, reach out to friends and family who can drop you off groceries and things from the drugstore. And that's the way we can protect the vulnerable members in our community.
Now, and I want to say, just in case people just caught on, once again, this is Elizabeth Schneider, 37 years old, from Seattle. Mm-hmm. She was one of the, Seattle, Washington is one of the biggest places. I think they currently have 526 confirmed cases, I think I read. And she just kind of recanted her story. Now, Elizabeth, I was watching your story, reading about it. You think you contracted it at a party, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, that's correct. So I fell sick on Tuesday, February 25th. And 3 days prior, I had attended a house party on Saturday, February 22nd. It was a simple house party. I'm sure you guys have been to them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everyone brought a dish to share. It was potluck style. We had cocktails, beer, wine, sodas. It was inside because it's so cold here. And we were just listening to music in the evening and just chatting and socializing. Uh-huh. And I didn't think much of it, and I had a great time, and I went home, and then, I came down sick on the following Tuesday, and I didn't really connect my illness with the party until several days later, and I was scrolling through Facebook, and I saw a post from one of the women who had attended the party, and she said, "Hey guys, I'm sick, I have a fever, I have body aches, I'm really tired. Does anyone else out there have these same symptoms? Is something going around in Seattle?" And I saw in the comments that a bunch of people, about 12, a dozen by my recollection, who were at the party also commented and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm sick too. Oh, no. I have the same similar symptoms. I fell sick on Tuesday." And I commented it as well. And of course, at that time, I thought, well, damn, we all got it from the party. But I didn't really think that it was coronavirus at that time. Mm-hmm. Again, because I was thankfully, fingers crossed, recovering on my own just by taking over-the-counter medications and getting rest and drinking lots of water and taking vitamins. And again, I didn't have that symptom that is being circulated as the telltale sign of the coronavirus, the cough, the tightness in your chest, and the shortness of breath.
Wow. So you went into the study without any symptoms, and then the result of the study just came back like, hey, you're positive for coronavirus?
Yes, that's correct. Now, a lot of the other symptoms for coronavirus are very similar to a cold or the flu. Okay. So, cough, tightness in your chest, shortness of breath. That's just one of the symptoms. The others are, fever, body aches, headaches, feeling tired, congestion, runny nose. So I did have a lot of the symptoms, but, okay. A lot of those symptoms are just very similar to if you have a nasty cold or the flu. Yeah. And at that time, and this is pretty much about 3 weeks ago, here in Washington and in Seattle, we didn't have that many cases. Mm-hmm. And most of the coverage on the news was not about the cases in the United States. It was about the cases in China and overseas. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of us just sort of thought what everyone else does, like, oh, that's out of sight, out of mind. Mm-hmm. It's somewhere else. It's, it's not going to happen to me. Now, the way that I ended up sending a sample to the Seattle flu study was several of the people who had gone to the party, they actually went to their doctors. Oh, okay. And their doctors all thought that they had the flu. Mm. They were tested for the flu. They tested negative. So their doctors just told them, go home, rest from your own. And they were not tested for the coronavirus at the doctor's office. And so all of these friends were commiserating on this Facebook post, which ended up getting close to 700 comments.
Wow.
And they were frustrated that they weren't tested for the coronavirus. And at that point, one of the people on the thread brought to our attention about the Seattle flu study and said, hey guys, this is a study going on. Initially, they were only testing for different strains of the flu. They were studying how flu transmits through the community. But a few weeks ago, noticing that this was becoming an imminent public health emergency, they decided to additionally test those samples for the coronavirus. And so we thought this was a great opportunity for us to see, number one, if we did have a different strain of the flu. Most of us got flu shots, but as we know, the flu shot doesn't cover every strain of the flu that's circulating out there. But we also thought this was an interesting way for us to find out potentially if we had the coronavirus. So we all signed up. There was the questionnaire we filled out online. They wanted to know, if you were truly feeling unwell, if you had symptoms that are similar to what you would get if you have the flu. Within an hour and a half, I got sent a test kit by courier. So it was a nasal swab test kit. It was really simple to do. Had simple step-by-step instructions. And then I stuck it in a postage prepaid box. And then several days later, they got the sample, and then they did the test probably shortly thereafter. And then I got the call on March 7th, on that Saturday, that I was tested positive. Now, I will tell you that as of a couple days ago, the latest that I have is that 7 other people from the party have tested positive. So that's 8 people, including myself. And there are around 30 to 35 people at the party.
Okay. So since then, have you been back to the doctor? Or have you been to the doctor after you?
No, I didn't go to the doctor. Okay. I did call my primary care doctor the Monday after I found out that I had tested positive on Monday, March 9th. And I did explain to them the situation and what happened and whether or not I should come in. And at that time, I was feeling better. I was, feeling healthy. I got my energy back. I didn't have a fever anymore. I didn't have any of those other symptoms. And so they didn't tell me that I needed to come in. They did tell me to call the public health department to let them know, that I had tested positive. Now, according to the flu study, when they called me, they said they were going to send my sample over to the King County Public Health Department for confirmation, and that they may call me back if the test is confirmed to get some additional information, but they may not call me because they're inundated right now with so many cases, and they're focusing on the ones that are higher risk. We've had a lot of nursing homes with elderly people where many of the residents have contracted it, and pretty much all of the healthcare workers that work there have contracted it, and that's where the majority of deaths have come from. So when I called the King County Health Department, they said, thank you for calling us. According to the flu study, as you said, they sent your sample over, and we don't need to take your information. I never did get a call from the King County Health Department